Hello everybody. We're here on Sunday night at, it looks like the tip of the evening, and let's get started. So we're going to do the Sunday edition of the yoga class, and I'm Michael, and let's get started. And so I'm just going to start jumping right into this, so maybe this time I can keep it down to maybe 50 minutes. We'll see what happens. Okay, so again, for those of you that don't know me, this is a yoga channel. We talk about different things, different subjects. Lately, we've been doing a lot of yoga classes. I also do a lot of Christian messages from time to time on what I feel that I'm led to do. So recently, we've gone through some things that really have applied to today's society and to today's world and what's going on in a lot of the things, including the subject of fear, including the subject of increasing your faith so we get more immense faith in spite of all the obstacles that we're going through and that are set forth in front of us so we can get through those, and how this all ties in with yoga. And I believe there is a correlation. Yoga is a practice, it's an exercise practice that's been around for centuries, and it's a way to deal with certain things that come our way in life, on how we deal on a day-to-day basis when we get faced with obstacles, we get faced with imbalance, we get faced with negativity. So yoga is a way, and it's a path to, or shall we say, it's a tool to use to make us more efficient and more balanced and centered throughout all these things that come our way. So that's kind of what we're getting at here. So this is what I do, and it's kind of improvised. I do a lot of different things, you know. I do a lot of things that are involved with music is one of them, because I've been a musician all my life, and I play keyboards and guitar and I sing, and so that's a great aspect. And so I feel it's important. Like yoga is really all about all aspects of life. So it's about music, it's about nature, it's about the universe, it's about you in relationship to the universe. So, we have this relationship as the individual soul, which I mentioned before. It's called we're the jiva, or it's the jiva soul, which is it's consciousness of an individual related to the universal consciousness, and so that is the jiva soul. And of course, the atman is the consciousness as related to the whole the whole planet and all of the people and everything is consciousness related to that. And of course, the Brahman, which is the highest stage, is the infinite consciousness. So that's the state of Brahma. So we have those three different aspects. And I did go into that in a previous video, so you might want to kind of tune back to that. I think it was titled Kundalini Yoga. And got a lot of stuff, and a lot of deep stuff, which was really informative. So let's get started and get right into this. And so before we start, I just wanted to say that there are different levels of this yoga, of the practice of yoga, and everybody's at a different stage in their life. So go as you feel you can go. Don't overdo anything. If you need to get out of a pose a little quicker, or if it's not feeling right to you, then maybe you want to back off the pose, come back to it at a later date. You might want to modify it and not go down so far in the stretch, or come up a little higher. And so these are the things I've been talking about. So listen to your body, listen to what your mind is telling you, what you feel, and what your body feels it really needs. So getting tuned into that is part of your mark of your progress. So let us get started. And I just might add, it's just a wonderful, wonderful night here. It's really looking good. I love these night yoga classes. They have such a there's such a divine kind of a mystical nature about it, and so that's why I wanted to do it again. So I might do it more often on Sunday nights with the night, or I might do it during the day, or maybe something else entirely different. So let's get started. We're going to go into, we're going to just start out right away with seated posture to take a few breaths. And so bringing our hands onto our knees. And so we touch our index, middle finger, and our thumb together. And so both hands, we let our shoulders relax and draw back. And here we try to connect. The first thing we feel is our sit bones, or where we're connecting with our yoga mat. So if you have a yoga mat, then you can kind of feel that connection where you are connecting with the earth. So that's the first thing. And now let's go from that, and then we bring our attention to our fingers. So where your thumb and your middle finger and your index finger are touching, you make a connection here and bring your attention to that. So, when you first start out and you get into your first seated pose, you're probably getting a little bit more hyper and you're feeling anxious. And it's kind of always the way even I feel like that. And as you go on through the session, you're going to slow down. So you're going to see that we're going to slow down. And this is what we're going to really work on tonight, is that slow down process, and that tuning in and that listening to your body on what it's telling you and where you need to go and where you're feeling you need to go. So I'm going to try to convey that the best of my know-how to you, the people, the viewers out there, and so you can really get a sense of what I'm doing. So kind of a transference of energy. Usually in a class where people are close to you, you have that better connection, but in, of course, TV and you don't have in the internet, of course, YouTube or whatever it is, you don't have that connection. So we try to improvise a little bit, and we try to just feel it as if it were happening. So take a few deep breaths. Inhale. As you exhale, then let the shoulders relax a little further, noticing that you're straight through the back. Take another deep breath. Inhale. And exhale, release. And on the next inhale, we take an inhale, we start to notice our eyes. So our eyes are becoming a little bit more relaxed. And we start to relax through the facial areas and the throat and the chest and the shoulders. So as we feel that, we're continuing to straighten through the back. So you might even want to give yourself a little tilt here to see how straight you are. And this is quintessential in yoga, as a straightening of the spine and the back. It really opens up these, what we call the invisible channels, the invisible nerves called the nadis, which we talked about before. And so this tends to open up the body and open up, so we can open up the chakras, which is really the goal here, and to what happens is eventually that turns over the note. If you kind of understand that, the note within the chakra, then the chakra becomes illuminated or opened up, however you want to describe it. And then we go through in our series of life of opening these chakras, which kind of is indicative of our advancement on how, especially in our yoga practice and in life as a living principle, as in dealing with everything all the time. So let's just breathe on here. So try to get comfortable. Don't make yourself so stiff that you feel like a stiff board or a popsicle, but keep in the flow, and try to be relaxed, but be mindful of your alignment, and that you're not really crouched over or rounding at the back too much. And so a nice straight posture promotes a healthy back, and that really is very essential, very important. All right, so let's take a couple more breaths, and then we'll begin to, today let's bring our chin down to our chest, or toward our clavicle or collarbone. Exhale. Inhale, hands underneath the chin in prayer position. Tilt the head slightly up. And exhale. And release. Look over to your right side. Keep the shoulders nice and drawn back, not squinched way forward. And look over to your left side. Try to look like over the shoulder, but don't strain it. If you can't come all the way to look over your shoulder, then maybe you might want to adjust that and just look halfway. And once again, looking over to your right. And once again, finally looking over to your left side. And relax. And breathe. Let's go into Ardha Matsyendrasana, the spinal twist. And we're going to do that in 2 variations today. Some of you might want to do the first variation that I'm going to show you. It kind of looks like this. If you're a little bit more flexible. So simultaneously on both sides, I'm just going to kind of demonstrate it. And we want to make sure that the shoulder is nice and relaxed in the back, and our hand is far enough back so where it's not squinching up the shoulder. All right, so continue the breath. And for those of you that don't want to do that, we can just do the cross-legged position, which is the modified approach. And by the way, is the most basic one of these. The other one might be a little bit better. It has a better massage on the stomach, so for digestion, I tend to do that a lot. It helps me much better when I come out in the full in this one. So it's a little bit more, has more impact on the movement here within the stomach muscles and the internal organs of the stomach. And so that one is really good if you want to do that. So either one, and I'll try to kind of guide you through as we go. So let's look over to, first of all, we'll go over to our right side and put the hand in back of you about a nice comfortable length. And we look back toward the hand, keeping our back straight. Make sure that your hand's not too far up, so your waist squinched up, nice and comfortable. Make sure the neck is very pliable and relaxed and smooth. And breathe. And release. And let's go over to the other side. Bringing yourselves into the moment, into the now. Once again, the hand behind you, the other hand resting on the knee. And breathe. Look back toward the hands. You might want to adjust the position of the neck. And this one is very good for the hips. It's very good for the stomach, and it's very good, as I said, for the digestion. The spinal twisting moves. They're also good for the spine in general and the back. And they do have a sense of calming within the mind. So I always try to incorporate these into my program. All right, so let's bring the hands back to center. Let's round the shoulders up and then back. Round the shoulders up, take a breath and relax, exhale. And once again, let's go forward, round the shoulders up and then forward and then relax. Just keep breathing while you're doing this, and one more time. Up and then forward and then relax. And let's lift the hands up as high as you can get them. And if you want to go in, you can reverse the hands and come into a balancing pose like I showed you before. Some of you may know this already. You kind of just do this. And we'll reverse the hands and put the left hand this time, or the right hand, whichever one you didn't do. And kind of interlace the fingers, and then we kind of just bring it on through, back on through toward the chest, and kind of bring the hands up in kind of this incredible move here, which really has a sense of balancing out the body. So it's one of the upper body balancing moves, particularly I would say for the upper chakras. and kind of get you into that state of where you kind of want to be. So it helps to center you. All right. So bring the hands back on the knees, and let's go ahead and let's do one more here. Let's stretch forward. So we're going to stretch forward. For those of you that want to take this a little further, you might want to put the hands behind the back if you're more advanced, and stretch forward this way, lifting the hands up. If you feel really limber in your hips, so if you're very advanced or even advanced, you might want to try that. Otherwise, the safer approach is the more modified approach. So you want to come in and just put the hands in front of you and try to inch forward and feel where your stopping zone is. So where you tend to feel like you're starting to round the back, which is going too far. So you want to come back on it so that you keep the back straight. So the minute you start to round the back and the arms are getting too straight and stiff, that probably means that you're going too far within this stretch. So it's always best to be safer and to be, come up within it. You don't have to rush down to the bottom of the earth in one move. So, it's over time. You'll get further as you get, and eventually you'll be all the way stretched forward, after, it depends on how long it takes you and how often you practice. So as we continue to move, we kind of start to just feel where we are. Now notice the sense of what you're feeling differently, how you're tuning in. You might be more into this present moment. You might be tuned into what's going on within your mind right at this time, rather than in what you did like about 3 hours ago, or what you're going to do tomorrow. So you may be more tuned in now. So that's what we want. So notice if you're feeling that. So let's go ahead and shake out the legs a little bit, and kind of give yourself a nice little boost here with that shaking out. It really kind of gets your circulation and stimulates your legs and the nerves, and gets everything kind of going. So let's get up and let's do a few rounds of the sun salutation tonight. So we're going to go into, I'm going to kind of turn around this way so you guys can see me a little bit better. Most of you will stay where you are on the mat. If your mat is facing the way mine is, then you want to turn around so we get to the front of our mat, and so we come up right to about here. Okay? So we're going to do, let's do about maybe 3 rounds, maybe 3 or 4. So let's do them a little quicker today. So I was showing this on Friday night for those of you that tuned in. And so let's begin by we take the first movement into just a Tadasana, where we're just kind of in a basic stance, feet shoulder width apart, in prayer position in the chest. We inhale and exhale the first movement, and we lift the arms up, kind of bend the knees a little bit, lengthen through the back into tall mountain, lift the hands up, and exhale down, and let's go into Anjayanasana. Step back with your right foot, the knee to the back, so you're about 90 degrees over the front foot, gazing down at your toes. Your back foot, your hip, I guess, would be directly over the knee. And so you're kind of lined up very nice and evenly. And let's go back into Phalakkanasana, the plank pose. If you don't want to come into plank, then just come down here and just rest for a bit. Otherwise, if you're up in the plank, retain your breath. Exhale into Astanga Namaskara, knees, chest, and chin. And we come up into a modified cobra, or you come up into the Bhujangasana if you feel your back is strong enough, which would be about to here. And then the next is an exhale up into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Get the heels down and back if you can. And the hands are out in front of you, and you're creating an inverted V, looking back at your toes. The back is strong, the legs are strong, very active here. A lot of activity within this posture, very strengthening, by the way. Toning the hips, the legs, the arms, the shoulders, the arms get very strong through this. Step back into Anjaneyasana, back with the same foot you went back with. And as we take a breath, inhale, and then let's exhale into uttanasana. Keep a bend to the knees to take pressure off the back, so bend the knees. And then in the next movement is an inhale up, and exhale and release. Take a couple breaths to regroup. And if you feel you need to rest, then please sit down or take a break. Come back to it. Inhale, exhale, hands in prayer. And exhale, lift the hands up, bend the knees. Look up to the hands toward the stars, and I can see the stars actually. Very nice, very balancing. Exhale, come down into Anjaneyasana on the other side. So let's see, that would be with whichever side it was. I think it was the left foot back. Whichever side you didn't do the last time, do that side. So the knee is directly over the foot. It's kind of like the low lunge pose, and then we come back into the plank. And if you didn't want to do the plank, then just go ahead and lie down once again if it's too much for you. Otherwise, if you're in the plank, nice push-up position, and come down into Astanga Namaskara. Knees, chest, and the chin. Exhale. Elbows in by the body, very close inside. Fingertips in line with the shoulders. Inhale up into Bhujangasana. Looking upward, trying to get, and the goal is to try to get the pelvis toward the floor. If you're more advanced, don't push it. If you feel you need to modify, then always come down. And let's exhale into downward dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Try to get the heels down and back. And let's come through with the same foot we went back with. Inhale. So you notice with each of these movements is an inhale, then an exhale. And then we exhale into Uttanasana, knees bent, taking pressure off the back. So each movement has an inhale and an exhale. Everything's balancing. Inhale up and exhale and release. Okay. So that's good enough for now. If you want to do a couple more rounds, then you might want to do another round on your opposite side while I'm talking. Otherwise, take a rest. And so I'm just going to explain something about the movements, and I did this before. So when you always through yoga, when you lift, it's always usually an inhale. When you come down and when you descend, it's usually an exhale. So the beginning of the posture, the beginning is the inhale, the end of the posture is the exhale. So there's always a yin and the yang. So there's the hot and there's the cold. So it's kind of everything's balanced. So in your yoga practice, always note that you're being balanced one side with the other. Never try to do one side without the other. Always try to do them both so you get that balance within both sides of the body, because that's kind of how we are. Everything's left and right, right and left. Sun and the moon, which would be the better way to describe it. Ida and Pingala. Pingala sun, Ida moon. Okay, so let's go into the next posture here. We're going to go into Utthita Trikonasana, sometimes known as the triangle, and this is usually the pose that follows Surya Namaskara. So we step out, first of all, line up the 2 feet, the front heel and the back arch. Note that your feet are evenly spaced apart, probably about a little more than shoulder width, a comfortable width for you, maybe 3 to 4 feet. Not too far, not too short in where you're way in here. So you want to have a nice comfortable length. Front heel lined up with the back arch. And notice that the hips are in alignment with the shoulders. Bring the arms up and exhale down toward the foot. And if you have to modify this, and just stop here. If you're new to yoga, you might just want to stop here. If you're more advanced and you want to go down towards your foot, keep both legs straight, looking up to the hand, and once again opening up the chest and the shoulders, so we have a nice direct and a nice straight line throughout the body, from the toes to your head, everything straight. And the intention is to look up toward the hand if you can. If you can't, then if it's too much strain on the neck, just look forward. So, and let's come up, inhale, exhale, and let's go into the other side. So arms up, airplane fashion, line up the 2 feet, front heel, back arch, exhale, reach down toward the foot. If you're modified, then you might want to stop here, or maybe here. And if you're more advanced, then try to go all the way down as far as you can go without hurting the, without straining the back or going too far than you should go. So you can kind of feel that and sense that where you may be right up here, and if it's too much, then you just may want to just come to here. So everybody, depending on how strong your back is and your overall body strength, so you can kind of gauge that. So I'm just trying to make it more applicable to different levels of abilities that are watching this. Then you come up, and it's a breath as you come up, as we exhale, release. And now let's kind of inch our feet back together. We can kind of come back this way, or we can just kind of do 1 foot at a time. So everything coming back slowly, so we don't hop back into place. We don't want to jar anything. So even though they do have jump back yoga and Ashtanga, and some people like to do jump backs and things like that, but the traditional yoga is probably the most, in my opinion, it's the most efficient and the safest and healthiest way to go. The traditional Hatha or Raja yoga, where it originally came from. All right, so let's go into the next pose. We're going to go into Parsvakonasana, and so I've demonstrated that a couple times. For those of you that don't want to do that, you can maybe just kind of watch if you want to hang out. If you want to go ahead and go into Parsvakonasana, let's begin. Take a wide stance. And usually this one's a little bit of a wider stance here. And so we're going to modify this today once again. And I think, I'm going to devote a little bit more time to get in the advanced to where we actually put the hand behind the foot. But that's going to take a little bit more time to demonstrate that. So I think this is the best approach for now. Arms up, airplane fashion. The back arch is in alignment with the front heel, so feet in proper alignment, hips with the shoulders. And exhale, rest the arm on the leg like this, over the thigh. Lift the hand up over the head, reaching toward the sky. So keep that upward lift in the arm, so you're opening up the chest and shoulders here. Once again, so you're not coming down like this. It defeats the pose as best you can. Obviously, you're going to try to, get as upright as you can here. And if you need to come out, if it's too much for you, then maybe you don't want to do this posture. But it's it really tones the body really well. A very strength building pose. And as I said before, I think it's good for digestion and constipation and things like that. And so it's really good. Okay, so let's come up and exhale. Okay, so let's take a couple breaths, regroup, and let's come to the other side. All right, so let's go to the other side. Wide stance, feet are about almost 4 feet apart, legs straight, front heel in alignment with the back arch. So watch where your alignment is. Is it a straight line like a pencil? And that's where you want to be. Arms out, airplane fashion. Relax the shoulders. Exhale down. Lift the arm up over the ear. Look up toward the arm and breathe. Both hands are relaxed, facing the palm of the hand that's facing down toward your yoga mat. So the palm is facing down, and you're drawing in energy, by the way, with that hand that's outstretched. You're kind of pulling energy back to you toward that back foot. It's a good way to describe it. At the same time, you're becoming very strong within your legs and your knees, and your you can really feel this sometimes in your thigh, maybe. And let's come up, inhale, and exhale, and release, and let's bring our feet back together. All right, so yeah. So, you know, in that one, you know, it's like it's a really, really good posture. You know, and I just think, you know, sometimes I feel really good with that one. I always do that like first thing, usually in the mornings with the triangle and Parsvottanasana. So let's go into the beings I just brought up, Parsvottanasana, into the pyramid pose, and let's head right into that. For those of you that want to do a little bit more of the advanced variation like this, putting the hands behind you in prayer. I don't know if you can see that. I think you can, but if you can't, it's okay. So your hands are in prayer, or if you just want to come up here, you can. So the first movement is, you know, it's usually to come up here so we get that initial energy intake into the body. Both legs are very straight and active. Hips are in alignment with the feet. And if you want to come back here, or if you want to come down, but for the sake of the matter, let's just come down, slide the hands down the leg. And exhale. Notice the leg. You might want to come up a little higher, above or below the knee joint, keeping the back straight. Advance. If you're advanced, you come down a little further. Nice and easy. Keeping everything easy. Taking a few breaths. And by the way, if you need to, if you want to hold some of these poses longer, you can. I'm just trying to move through this so it doesn't go on for 2 hours. Okay. All right, so let's come up, inhale, and exhale. So be your own judge. If you feel you want to hold these postures a little longer, then go ahead and hold on to it, and then you know, maybe rejoin the video a little bit later. So once again, on the other side, so square off your hips. Is always a good first move. Or notice that the hips are in alignment with the feet and knees. And if you're back in this position, in hands in prayer position behind your back, you can do so, and kind of goes on down like this. If you're not, then you're up here, so lifting the arms up. So the first movement, and exhale, and either come back to here, or just bring the hands resting on the leg, sliding down, looking toward the foot. So in yoga, we always have like a gazing point, a point of focus. And so it helps kind of get our mind's eye on what we're doing and where we are within the asana. So look down towards your foot and breathe. Keep the breaths very nice, very deep if you can. You need to come up sooner, then please come up. And let's come up. Inhale. Inhale, strong breath. Lifting the hands up. Active, you can feel. Now feel where you're feeling different. Now, as I said before at the beginning, you feel where you're feeling different. You feel the energy moving through. You notice you're becoming more observant of the things around you. You're getting more in tune, and that's exactly what it should be doing. You're also feeling a little bit more energetic, shall we say. You may be just feeling more calmer. So everybody has a different way that they're feeling, and so, but always be mindful, be in tune with where and what you are feeling, and that way you can mark your progress. And so you can say, hey, you know, it was the last time I felt a little bit rushed when I was doing it that way, or maybe my neck was a little bit stiff, so I think I'm going to modify it this time. So make like a mental notebook of what you did, maybe in the previous class, or as you're doing it, make a mental note so you can kind of refer back to that. So it's kind of like a guide, kind of like a guideline of your progress and your increasing, from your ability level and within your practice. Okay, so take a couple moments to rest, and we're going to go into the next pose would usually be Viradrasana, or the warrior. And as I said before in the last video, I'm going to demonstrate some of the reversed poses, like the reverse triangle and reverse Parsvakonasana. There's a couple variations within that are really kind of interesting, but not tonight. We're just going to go slow, a little bit at a time, a little bit here, a little bit there, and that way it kind of gradually gets you onto these levels at a more even pace. Okay, so let's go into warrior on the right side first, both legs straight. Take your hands and sort of guide your hips, so square off your hips. This is a very important move, probably one of the most important moves of this posture. Asana, both legs are straight. The front heel lined up with the back arch, the back foot's in about 45 degrees. So in a lot of these, you kind of have to gauge how far your back foot's pointed into the pose, based on what you're feeling. Usually it's about 45 degrees in this pose, and also Parsvakonasana. Okay, so notice that the heel in back lined up with the heel in front is lined up with your back arch. Feet are very firm on the ground. Let's lift the hands up. Inhale alongside the ears if you can. If you can't, then you may have your arms a little bit out here. So we're going to be gazing forward. If you're more advanced, you might want to, as you come down, you might want to look toward the hands. So let's exhale, keep the breath active, the knee over the foot. Make sure that back foot is firmly planted, your leg is straight, both legs are active. This is probably one of the strongest poses in the yoga flow. And there's a few variations we can do within this pose. Let's take a couple more breaths. If you need to come out, then come out sooner. And let's go into warrior 2. Shoot the arms out, bow and arrow style, knee over the foot. The hips have a slight shift to them, so lined up with the shoulders this time. So make sure you have that shift in the hips, so it kind of goes along with the shoulders. Make sure that back foot is still into the posture, so you're pointed inward this way. So you don't want to be out here. You don't want to turn out your foot. So let's come down, exhale, and release. All right, so let's go into our other side. Just looking around me, like I can see there's like a little kind of like mini mountains, or they look like little hills up there with lights on them. There's like, they look like kind of like little lighthouses on top of the hills there around me. And in back, there's some lights back there. And where we are now, there's also a pool, like kind of back in the middle. So kind of an interesting location. That's kind of like why I like to use this from many times. If you notice, the other day we were at the ocean over in by the beach, and that was a very interesting, that was just a great location, beautiful spot, really. If you want to go back to that video, and that was called Ocean and Sun Energy. So really a nice video, I thought. So sometimes the ocean's a very rejuvenating place to do your practice. I like to do my yoga on the beach, so they call that beach yoga. A lot of instructors like to teach on the beach. All right, so let's go into Prasarita Padottanasana, and I'm going to, just for the sake of the viewership, I'm going to step out like this, turn around, but everybody else, you kind of stay where you are so you can continue to watch me. So we come out, the feet are wide apart, and so keep the shoulders nice and drawn. Notice that the shoulders are relaxed, and feeling straight within the body. So your hips, everything's feeling straight. You're noticing now here, you're especially noticing that your back is very straight. So this is very important because this is very good for lengthening the back, straightening the back, very healthy for the back, particularly in this posture, Parasarita Padasana. So, and again, there are variations to this. Some of you might want to come down like this, if you know that. And then come up like that. Others will just come down like this. If you're newer to yoga, you might want to do it that way. All right, so feet wide apart in the extended wide angle stance. And here we go. Hands on the hips, and let's exhale as we descend. And you may want to stop about halfway or try to deepen it a little bit. So we come down a little further. Depends on where you feel that you want to go. Others, you may want to go ahead if you're going really far, and you might want to grab your feet like this. Otherwise, keep your hands on your hips. And let's just come up. If you want to stay longer, then go ahead. And exhale. And just for the fun of it, let's lift the arms up once again, and exhale. Exhale and release. Feet back together. So in some of the classes that I do, as we move forward, I might be holding the postures longer. And then when I do that, then of course, you be your own judge of length of hold. You might want to come up sooner if you're feeling that you don't want to hold those postures. So, you know, each time I do it a little bit different, and so, you know, you kind of have to feel where you want to go with it and be your own judge. Once again, so let's go do the balancing pose. So usually from there, you know, there's a lot of other ways you can go. You can go into the chair pose sometimes for called uttanasana, which I haven't gotten to yet. But we're going to do tree pose, which is vriksasana, the tree pose. And I've been showing the modified approach, which is kind of like this, or, you know, just hands right here, or maybe just lifting your foot up with your hands alongside. So today, let's just bring the hands into here, or maybe you just want to leave them here. So for those of you, your balance isn't too good, keep the foot on the ground, just bring it out, step out a little bit in front, evenly balanced. So it's a little bit of balancing here. This is the very mildest modification for this. And then for those of you that want to lift your foot up like this, you can. So, and then come back down, exhale. And let's do the other side. So take a couple breaths here first. Oh yeah, this is feels so good. I really love doing this stuff. You know, I never miss a morning where I don't do at least, you know, 4 or 5 poses. You know, it's sort of, you'll be amazed, even if you can only do 2 or you can only do 3, it will jumpstart your whole, shoot you up for the day. It will get you into that mode. And I promise you, it does that, you know, just by maybe doing triangle or Parsvottanasana, those 2, or simply maybe just a seated forward bend stretch, or whatever you know, anything, just, you know, whatever you can do, you know, it's always a good thing, and it sort of sets the day in motion, gets the day going in the right direction, so it kind of has that beginning balance. Okay. All right, so let's just move on. And by the way, the tree kind of looks like this. See how much balance where I am tonight. A little shaky there. Not too bad. And then you have the arms alongside the ears and the hands in prayer. And this is a tremendous one for balance. And then, of course, we do the other side. Didn't seem to hit it. There we go. And release, exhale. Okay, so for those of you that wanted to do the full tree. But start off just doing the modification. It's usually the best. That's what I do when my balance isn't that good. All right, so let's go ahead and let's just go ahead and sit on down, but and let's just go ahead and do that. So in the sun salutations we did tonight, we got a lot of the movements in. The sun salutation has many of the different moves in yoga incorporated into one series of movements, and that's why it's good to do sun salutations, even if you don't have time to do anything else. Maybe just do a few sun salutations or that. Okay, so notice where you are. Notice the thinking process. I'm feeling really energetic tonight, so maybe moving a little faster than usual. Okay, so the next pose we're going to do, let's go into the forward bend or the tranquility pose. A lot of you know what that is, uttanasana. Usually this is kind of the flow. But first, so we came out to here. Let's go, for those, let's do a modified shoulder stand. Maybe I have time to do that. So for those of you that want to go into the full shoulder stand, you can do so, but everybody else laying down. Arms alongside. And this gets the blood kind of flowing back to the heart and to the upper body. So it's one of the inverted postures, but this is the modified. Just lift the legs up about 90 degrees. For those of you that want to go into the full shoulder stand, then go ahead. If you know that pose, then go ahead and go into full shoulder stand. You might want to grab your legs like this and come down. For those of you that are in full shoulder stand, you might want to come back and you go into plow halasana, or you might just want to come down, however best that you know how. And relax. And let's come up. And getting up slowly. Let's go into uttanasana. So we're kind of going with the flow. We might have missed a few. Usually there's a sequence of the shoulder stand, and I will show you that later. So I don't know if you can, my goodness, if you can see my feet. If you can't, okay, so here, this is kind of the wide angle leg stretch. Uttanasana. So we're gonna kind of bring the feet apart and grab a hold of the legs or wherever and try to stretch forward a little bit, keeping the toes pointed up if you can. If this is too much for you, then stay out of the posture. Breathing. And let's take a couple more breaths. If you need to come up and come out of it, or hold on just a little bit longer. And let's begin to rise up as we inhale, exhale. Breathe. Try to keep the breath going within each of these asanas as you feel. So it's the breathing, the pranayama is very important. Now there is something that you can do as a modified approach to that, and there's something that you can also do this against a wall, where you push your buttocks against the wall all the way up, and then you let your feet fall to the side. I'm going to turn around and demonstrate this, so everybody else will kind of stay where you are, and it kind of looks like this. So we're lying down in a position like this. Grab a hold of the inside of our legs and we stretch to the side. This is Urdhva Mukha Uttanasana. So this is more of a modified approach to this. You're maintaining support with the back, and we're getting that release and the stretch in the legs. So if you tend to have if your back isn't as strong, you might want to do it this way. And you can also do this up by the way, against a wall. So you can do it that way too. So that's just to modify it. So if you want to do it that way. And then sometimes you can hug your knees into your chest after we do that. If you just did that with me. And then you can roll from side to side like this, which is nice. But this is, by the way, when you do this, we haven't done this yet, but this really stimulates digestion, and it's good for the for that sort of thing, and kind of stimulates the lower part of the lumbar, the back. But it has an effect on the digestive system, I believe. And it's also very good for your back too when you hug the knees of the chest. Okay, so let's come up and let's just we'll prepare for final relaxation, I think. So you just want to we'll hang out here just for a second. So I hope you're enjoying the class tonight. It's yoga is really good. It's really good for keeping you young. Like I said before, it will add years onto your life. It will get rid of a lot of unwanted stress, a lot of negativity. Will help keep you more centered, more focused. Will give you more clarity of mind. So will make you sharper. So it'll make your mental acuity much more clear. So there's a lot of benefits for doing yoga, including rejuvenating your facial structure, your overall way that your body functions. I mean, it has a tremendous benefit and on your physical body at least, and also your mind and your state of being as well. So these are some of the reasons for doing yoga, or any kind of exercise is good. Even if you do aerobics, they're all good. So I'm not saying that yoga is better than everything else. Obviously, there's a lot of, and I do appreciate a lot of the other exercises and stuff, and I do a lot of it myself. I used to play tennis, and I ski and snowboard, and I used to play golf and still play golf. It's just about $200 or $300 each time you go out to the course, though, each time. So, all right, but exercise is good, whether it's yoga or whether it's just general stretching or whatever you want to call it. So there you have it. So we have another night that we've just gone through. Sunday night, and I hope everybody's getting something out of this, and so let's go back and relax into final relaxation. Sometimes they call it the corpse pose, or see if my angle's right and you can see me, and it looks like you can. Doesn't matter if you see me or not. We're going to relax anyways. So we want to turn our mind inward, and let's gently coax ourselves on down into a lying down position. And let's take a few moments to relax. You can take up to, you can take as long as you want. As long as you're feeling good, you may get to a space where you just really feel good. So let's take a few breaths, breathe deeply, spread the feet apart. Arms that are comfortable length away from the body. And just relax, just let go. Let go, try to bring into mind's vision something about where you are. Maybe you want to focus on a point that's on the ceiling, or you just want to close your eyes. Maybe you want to visualize a beautiful lake or a river, or the ocean. You may just want to try to just get yourself so into that state of now, into that blank state. Bring your attention to your breath. So relax, let go. Feel yourself surrendering to your mat. Everything is supporting you, letting the ground support you. Feeling the benefits of the class, of what you just did. Giving yourself a pat on the back for for doing the practice. Every time you practice, make sure you thank your body. And let's go ahead and kind of bring ourselves back into the moment. Kind of coming back into a state of recollection and state of central being, of central here, being central, being centered, being in the present. Notice how you're feeling. Where was it different than when you first started? Feel yourself in this grounding process. Are you feeling more surrendered? And roll over to your right side. Make a pillow with your hands. And transitioning slowly up. And let's kind of get ourselves up. Kind of transitioning always up slowly. Let's do a few ohms and then we'll finish for this night. All right. So let's take a few deep breaths. Lift the shoulders and drop the shoulders. Relax throughout the back and throughout the shoulders, throughout the eyes and the face. Everything is feeling more relaxed. Has a profound effect on the body going through all of this, and then especially if you do final relaxation. All right. Inhale, let's do a couple of ohms. Last one. Inhale. Thank you for sharing your energy tonight with me. We'll see you on Friday if you'd like to tune in. Good night.